We have Khushi as our speaker for today. So, talking about Khushi, she's the organizer of Bhopal Force, GDG Bhopal, and has mentored at Ace Hack, Hack Bytes, and Hack the Space. Her talk consists of inspirational documentation of some really good user-centered doc in open source, and she'll be giving tips for structuring documentation for good usability and many more. So her talk is around beyond the manual, engaging users with clear and compelling open source documentation. So give it a huge round of applause for Khushi.
Hi everyone. So welcome to this talk. Oh my God, sorry. I did not have to say welcome to this talk. How should I start? Okay. You all had your lunch, right? Is there anyone who's left? No? All right. So after lunch, let's not skip directly to anything like documentation, open source, terminologies, and etc. Let's go through some story. So there was a young man, a doctor, who was traveling via train, okay? Now he was in the AC compartment, so yeah, the rush wasn't there. And there was no one sitting around him. So he was kind of bored. But few minutes later, a beautiful lady came and sat beside him, not beside, in front of him. Now, his intrusers were like, oh nice, I'll be having a good journey, right? At least. But after few minutes, the lady literally stood up, sat beside him, and she spoke into his ears, whispering, give me all the money and all the valuables that you have, or else I'll shout that you molested me. Alright? Now the doctor actually did not act anything. He just pulled out a pen and a paper. And what he did is he wrote, I cannot hear you, or I cannot speak or listen. Can you write this on the paper? Now the lady grabbed it and wrote it on the paper. He literally folded the paper, kept it in his pocket and said, now shout whatever you want to shout. This is the power of documentation. We use documentation to validate things. We use documentation to literally license our work. We document everything, not only to get the authority, but also to, communicate it to other people. Welcome to my talk. My name is Khushi Trivedi. I am from Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. And yes, I'm a part of FOSS United as I organize my city FOSS. So yes, welcome to my talk. These 20 seconds, you all have to bear with me because I'm going to talk about documentation. So generally what we do is we segregate things, right? Documentation are of this many types. Documentation are of 4 types or a quadrant or something. Well, yes, that is a case. And there have been so iconic and classic talks given by so many speakers around the world about documentation types, like this one or this one, like 3 pillars of documentation. But we're not going to talk about that. I'm not saying it's valid. It is valid. It's very important to know the difference, to know what we are building. But let's not focus here, but actually focus on the checklist, all right? Let's make a checklist instead, not classify it, but a checklist. So if you all, how many of you are maintainers or are in any organization or something? Anyone? Yes? A couple of people? Pretty much, yeah. So if you all do not want anyone to use your open source project, this talk is for you. If you don't want anyone to use your project, if you don't want anyone to view it, not to be interested in that, please focus in here because this is for you. Do not add a readme. Please don't add a readme because it will be very bad because, your project will actually get an SEO, an effective SEO. It will engage, more into people who are beginners as well as people who really want to find a new project. And it also tells the purpose of the project and all these stuff. So if you don't want your project to be used, don't add a readme. Don't add an API documentation. Who wants an API documentation, right? Don't add it. Please don't. Skip the user manual, by the way. The best projects have the user manual. So I am talking to those people who are not interested that people are watching their projects. So if you're the one, skip the user manual. It's of no use. It actually tells about the UX without even using the product, right? And it attracts the users around. So please don't add the user manual. Don't write developer documentation. No one wants the developer documentation if they are not interested in your project. Well, if you want people to be interested in, that's another factor. But yeah, it tells the important developer community about what your project is and what your stuff is. But yeah, you should skip this because it deals with the technical stuff, right? Contributing.mg, MD. Who all have a contributing.md? Why do you have it? You don't want anyone to use a project, right? Just skip it. Okay, so these are the contribution guidelines essentially for people who actually don't know, any beginners out here. So it's a contributing.md that tells about the steps, how to use it, how not to use it, but how to contribute it. For example, I'm a beginner. I really want to contribute some beginner level project. I found one, but if it doesn't have a contributing.md, how would I know how to contribute to it, right? So don't add this. Don't mention a changelog. Please don't mention a changelog because you know what? It actually tells how transparent you are to your users. And a good open source project only does that. But you are here to build a bad one, right? So don't add this. Please don't add this. It actually tells the bugs. For example, I made a product. I added a button. Now the button is actually not working. So our organization actually skipped it. That, okay, let's delete this. But if you add this change log, those users will stick to you forever because they know how much transparent you are to them, right? So if you actively update them, feel them included, they will use your product and you don't want that, right? Also, just ignore the architectural documentation. Like, who wants that? No one wants that, okay? Architectural documentation for the beginners out here, I actually, during the lunch, connected with a couple of college students as well. So I'm pretty much happy that I can tell you in a gist what are things. So architectural docs actually explains the entire architecture of your project, how things are working, how things are segregated, what are the classifications majorly, and it delivers an analysis. So if you don't want anyone to use your, again, project, don't add this. Forget the SDK docs. Oh my God, SDKs are so important if you have any. So it actually helps in the troubleshooting processes more, right? So again, skip the license. Documentation is all about license. Some people think just skip it. Don't give them the access. Well, actually, talking into the main terms, skipping the sarcasm. Open source is all about providing who are you focusing on, right? Who are your stakeholders? Who are your users? Who are your contributors? So this license actually gives people an understanding that what are your terms and conditions, who can actually use your product, who can contribute and stuff. Forget the tutorials, please. A good documentation only uses a tutorial. So if you don't want anyone to use your your product, don't teach them how to use it. Simple, right? The simplest one. Don't add installation guide. So how many of you have come across an installation guide in any repository? Many of you, right? That means those are the good projects. So again, skip adding media or snippet. Well, this is a practice which will make the worse. It will make it boring. I mean, in this time, who wants to watch a black and white movie when you have all sorts of VFX and animations, right? So these are the little VFX and animations of open source, and people relate to it. People relate to how screenshots are. They actually know, okay, I have a Windows laptop. They have a screenshot of a Windows laptop. So these are the things, how can I connect with it? People will find it really, really engaging. So just don't add this, okay? The FAQs, frequently asked questions. Every troubleshooting that they want to do, everything that you need to take care of, it's all mentioned in here. So If you don't want anyone to use your open source project, don't add an FAQ, okay? Finally, this all sums up to make your repository, your open source project, a very lonely open source project that sits in one corner of the internet that no one uses. Okay, that was lame sarcasm, but yes, these are the points that you should keep in mind just to go through. And while we are at it, making it worse, let's make it worst, right? Write cryptic comments. So these were just the basic one. Now we comes to what we should be doing. Yeah. So write the cryptic comments. Come on. Like, people need to be communicated. Your stakeholders are there for, communication. So commenting while drafting code will actually make your documentation so much easier. You don't have to bear the hectic, oh my god, I'll code first and then I'll write the documentation. No, actually that should go hand in hand. And while this is an ideology, we have a couple of tools which I'll be sharing at the end. Never use documentation tools again. Do not use documentation tools because it will make your project very easy to build, or documentations very easy to explain step by step. Well, there are some documentation tools that I'll be sharing, as I said. If you want to go opposite, you can, but after all, you don't want anyone to use your documentation, right? Don't write a readable code. Please don't write a readable code. Just type everything in one line. That's what I'm saying. Validates the documents and helps fellow contributors or communities. So it's for the validation. And remember, you're making the worst project. So yeah, just don't write a readable code, right? No redirect links inputs. I personally want any open source project to redirect me to somewhere else where I can find a good video, a good tutorial. So if you're just coding and just documenting it and not making maybe a tutorial for the users, that's pretty much of a hectic thing for them to understand and to relate to your project. For example, if I would have spoken this talk via maybe a video conferencing or something, you would have literally skipped it or might have watched it on a 2x. I know I'm very boring, right? So you cannot do it now. So you are stuck with me for like 20 minutes, and so your users will be stuck with you. Not that bad, but yeah, we call it engaged with you, engaging project that they literally will find it very compelling. Stop taking feedbacks. Come on, you're making a worst repository. Stop taking feedbacks from your users. So feedbacks could not only be on the issues side of the GitHub, but they also can go on to their community channels, maybe Discord, Twitter, or maybe somewhere else, Slack, or yeah. Don't differentiate in user and developer contents. So yeah, let me skip the sarcasm for a few seconds. If you need to make a good open source repository, you actually need to segregate. I know I said we should not segregate for now, but yeah, right now I'm segregating it. What is a user-centric document and what is a developer-centric document? You need to actually draw a line. These are the contributors. This information belongs to the contributors and this information belongs to the user. User doesn't want to know the full form of API, right? User doesn't want to know anything related to your product. They just want to use it. If you're not providing them what they actually are looking for, they'll go for some other tool, right? There are endless tools in the world. So if you're building something good, just this is where we draw the line. And at the end, I will show you a couple of examples which actually draw a line of user-centric documentation and a developer-centric documentation. Okay, now we're going to look into what are some bad documentation practices which you might follow if you're making a worst one. So this is a screenshot. It tells it's from Drupal. Update all versions and their dependencies. This doc is not updated with specific documentation. So the updates have been made centuries ago, and people who are still using it would honestly would go to their sites for documentation to understand how it works. But as you see, it had been upgraded so long back. This guide is about D8 media. You can see this rectangle below. It says it's D8 and D7, but if you look the upper one, it says 10, right? The 10th version is active, but the documentation has not been updated. It's all stuck on 8th and 7th. Make sure to not just include media and screenshot, but also of actually readable type of a good quality. This is the worst documentation practices, which believe, I swear, I have seen it on the websites of, those products, that they actually include so hard to read, low quality pictures. Again, don't display ancient documentations, please. This one has been last updated on November 2020. So, of course, we don't want the outdated content, even if we are the middle users, we are not the new ones, but still we can switch, right? Don't overcrowd information actually. You can see this is literally from the site of Ubuntu. How many of you have visited the site at least? Yeah. So this exact screenshot I've taken from where we download Ubuntu. This is actually flooding too much information for the user. Like, what is this for desktop, for server, for installation guide? You do not have to over segregate things, right? It actually distracts the user and confuses them more. Don't include too many redirecting links. As I said, yeah, continuing with the last point, becomes tough to stay on track. Actually, this is again from Ubuntu. They have, within the same point, they have bullet points. Within the same bullet point, they have mentioned 2 links. It's actually hard to redirect. Or maybe use a tooltip. Anyone who doesn't know a tooltip, or how many people know what's a tooltip? Yeah, most of you do. So use that, please. Okay. If any of it coincides with your project, you need to change it ASAP. Okay. These are some very, very red flags for any project or a repository to have. All right. Let's look into some good examples then. What are some good examples? Yes. Visually appealing. Accessible, yes. Be accessible for all the humans. As I'm saying, there are people who have accessibility issues. They use a different type of keyboard or a different system to access your documentation, your website. There could be colorblind people as well. You need to make sure it actually adheres with the standards of every human that is consuming your content. All right. Make it accessible. Include tables. Tables are much more easy to read because, as we know, human actually scans things instead of reading it, right? So yeah, add snippets just like this. Use of tooltip between the documentation is actually a very good example, because if I am someone who doesn't know what CRI is, I will literally go on the new tab or maybe pick up my phone, go and search it out. That will be a very hectic thing. I know it's just a 10-second thing, but still. We need something really handy, right? Very attractive way of releasing a changelog. This is a very, very good example of how a changelog is maintained. Like, you can literally scan it without reading it. I know it's not readable till the end, but at least you know the updates are made 2 days ago, 4 days ago. Yes, this is how you make a good changelog. This is how you track every change of it. So in case the user wants to go to the back change, which has been made 2 days ago, they will scroll down because they know how to do it, right? It's accessible and it's very attractive. A changelog for a reason, right? Timely update docs, user feedback options. So you must have seen this. Was it helpful? The emoji, or maybe the stars, or a thumbs up, or a thumb down. But not only this, you ask them for a feedback, a genuine feedback. And yes, do mention when did you update it very often, because that's what users needed, right? No one needs an outdated content or not been transparent enough. Use of screenshots and snippets. This itself is a screenshot, and in this screenshot, I am showing you another screenshot how they have actually depicted with an arrow. So these arrows actually just an arrow actually makes a documentation very easy to understand for the new users. And who doesn't want new users, right? We need more leads to be generated. Provide examples handy, just like the RHS, like right hand side along with the command description. So they have kept this side as totally blackout, and they have only mentioned all the commands, all the snippets on the right side, so that they show it as an example just in front of the heading. So this is I think this is the Kubernetes website, the official website that they have. A very helpful user guide and tutorial doc. So I think this is from Versailles, Vue.js. This is the official site of Vue.js. And this is how they are actually providing a user guide and a tutorial that you need to check out the examples, or you need to read out the guide, or maybe try the tutorial yourself. So this is how you actually compel the users which type of tutorial, which type of help do you need from us, right? These are some references for a good documentation. So for a good SDK, we have an AppWrite SDK. Many of you must have known about their AppWrite SDK. Then for the license, we actually have Versailles as more going into Next.js. Yeah, Next.js has a excellent license documentation written out on their official website. Architectural doc could be, taken an example from Kubernetes. They have the best documentation ever written, I swear. And then Twilio API docs, they have a very compelling API documentation. These are according to me, there are more. And user manual for tutorial, I just show you the screenshot, it's from the same. And a changelog, again, that changelog was from Gorgeous, or how do we read it? Okay, so fine. Documentation tools, yes. Documentation tools, these three are some of the documentation tools, and the last one is actually an open source documentation tool. So yeah, that's how you go. MKDocs is a Python based tool which actually has a lot of extensions based on how you code and how you would want things to work. So if you want these resources, the tools, the links to the documentation or stuff, you can visit here. This is where you will also find my socials. If you even 1% liked my talk, I would love to hear any of your feedbacks as well as the critics. And thank you so much for sitting here, listening in front of me. This is my first talk at this big of a conference in front of so many professionals. Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, you can scan this for any of the links that I mentioned and my socials. Thank you so much.